Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhatta Vrinda, Vande Anantad Bhuteshwaryam Shri Nityananda Mishwara
Ishwaram
Yeshe
Swarupam
Napi.
Nirupyate. Let me offer my obeisances to Lord Sri Nityananda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose opulence is wonderful and unlimited. By his will, even a fool can understand his identity.
Very good. So this is from Adi Leela, Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 5, text number 1. So hopefully at some point in our lives, we will also go through Chaitanya Charitamrita. But this book is a glorious book written by Krishnadas Kaviraj. And it describes the pastimes of Chaitanya, but also Lord Nityananda. Very important personality. Okay. Lord Nityananda Prabhu is requesting everyone, O people of faith, by the order of Lord Gauranga, O brothers, I beg these 3 requests from all of you. Chant Krishna, worship Krishna, teach others about Krishna. So this is a song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We'll have to find that song, of course, at some point. And this is one of the old traditional pictures said to actually describe Lord Nityananda as he looked when he came to this world. A very interesting picture. Beautiful. I love this. This is a devotee praying to Lord Nityananda. Without your mercy, no one will get Gaura. Even if he worships Gaura for 100 lifetimes, sometimes Gauranga may punish somebody, but you will protect him. But if you punish someone, Gaura will never accept him. So Nityananda is so important to us. Amar Nitai Prabhura Prabhu Gaura Sundar. Very, very beautiful. Gauranga. And there is Lord Nityananda on the right of Mahaprabhu. He's a right-hand man of Mahaprabhu. And as we know in Krishna Leela, Chaitanya is Krishna, Balaram is Nityananda. And as we discussed yesterday, Balaram had a really incredible personality, very different from Nityananda, because in Nityananda is the added ingredient of compassion, which is really, really important. And Nityananda is compassion personified, as we will see in a little while. He's non-different from Balaram, added with compassion. And before Balaram, what was he before Balaram?
Lakshman.
Yeah.
Lakshman.
Very good. Ramanuja. There you go. This is Balaram. This is Nityananda. Very similar. Very similar. Lakshman. Nityananda Prabhu was born in Ekachakra, a small village in present West Bengal. There you go. So this is Orissa. There's Orissa here, down here somewhere. But this is Bengal, the whole of Bengal. And, here goes there. Kolkata, this is normally where we fly into. And then we shift ourselves up to Mayapur, about 100 kilometers at least north. And then Ekachakra is a little bit more up north, and the roads are pretty rough. But this is a place to visit when one goes to Mayapur. He was born around the year 1474, 12 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born what year?
60 plus 12.
Yeah.
86.
12
1496.
years.
That was a trick
1496.
question. 1486. Nityananda Prabhu was born on the auspicious 13th day of the bright fortnight on the month of March. So we call it Triyodasi. Nityananda Triyodasi. His birthplace is commemorated by a temple named Garbhashwa, Nityananda's Janamsthan. Very beautiful temple. This is it. This is the entrance of that beautiful temple. This is I think his samadhi. Actual. Oh no, that's the actual birth site. So that's the actual birth site of Lord. Doesn't have a samadhi, right? Because he's Supreme Lord. And this is his father's house, Hadai Pandit, do there. And this is the deity of Lord Nityananda at that temple, at his Janamsthan. And he is really playful. As I was saying yesterday, when I was there 10 odd years ago, maybe more, 12 years ago, my hands were up in the air to greet him, and my dhoti fell off. So it was really incredible pastime. Never forget that. His father, Hadai Oja, and his mother, Padmavati, were pious Brahmins, originally from Mithila. And as a child, Nitai, as Nityananda Prabhu was called, loved to enact the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram. The village of Ekachakra was completely absorbed in the love of Lord of Little Nimai, where he spent the first 12 years of his earthly life. This is a really powerful pastime. He used to enact these plays of Krishna and Ram, and everybody used to be very enamored by how his emotions would just go into the characters so wonderfully. In the 13th year, a traveling sannyasi, Lakshmipati Tirtha, enchanted by Nitai's devotion and service, requested Nitai from his parents as a traveling companion, very young. His parents, bound by Vedic culture, would not refuse the request of a guest and reluctantly parted with Nitai. So he asked them for his son. And how amazing were the parents. How could they let go of Nitai? Must have broken their heart. But they did. Because they didn't want to break Vedic culture. How strong they were. Devastated by the separation with Nitai, Hadai Pandit soon gave up his life. Nitai traveled with Lakshmipati for 20 years, during which he visited all the holy places in the country. Lakshmipati's famous disciple, Madhavendra Puri, was revered by Nitai and became his spiritual master. Madhavendra Puri, extraordinarily famous. He actually introduced the worship of Radha and Krishna into this sampradaya. Very unique personality. Among the other disciples of Madhavendra Puri is Advaitacharya and Ishwara Puri, the spiritual master of Mahaprabhu. So there's loads of names here. If we start with Lakshmipati, he's the guru of Madhavendra Puri, who's the guru of Nitai, guru of Advaita, and Ishwara Puri. And Ishwara Puri is the guru of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Does anybody remember the most famous disciple of Advaitacharya? Anybody remember? Who's it?
Advaitacharya.
He's Namacharya. Anybody remember Namacharya? Who's Namacharya? Everybody asleep, huh? Yes,
Prabhuji.
yes, Haridas Thakur. Good. This is Madhavendra Puri. This fantastic pastime with Krishna, where Krishna steals the butter, the makhan, the sweet rice pot for him, and had it brought to him. Nityananda Prabhu met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in 1506 when he was 32 years old. Nitai was 32 years old. And when the Lord Chaitanya was 20 years old. He said that when Nityananda Prabhu reached the land of Nadia, he hid in the house of Nandacharya to heighten the ecstasy of meeting through separation. So this was really interesting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually he became aware of the arrival of Nitai, and he just knew this Nitai has come because they're so close. And he sent Haridas Thakur and Srivas Pandit to find him. But they failed. Finally, unable to bear the separation any longer, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself went directly to Nityananda. And the ecstasy of the meeting was so transcendental that everyone witnessing it were awed by the sublime experience. A temple called Sri Gaura Nityananda commemorates meeting place in Nadia. We haven't been there. This is the place, Sri Ishod Yala. That must be in Mayapur itself. Then Lord Chaitanya took Nityananda to the home of Srivas Pandit, very famous home. We went to have Shivas Angam. That's right. This is the home. Does anybody remember this? Has anybody been there? Naniben, you've been there. Did we go there?
No, we didn't go there. We haven't been to Mayapur area, Prabhuji.
Oh, we didn't go Mayapur.
Oh, very sad.
We'll have to do that. Mayapur and
Yes, we have to do.
so this is where they used to do beautiful, beautiful kirtans for hours and hours, like 20 hours or something on the trot. So this is the most famous pastime. This is why we love Nityananda so much. He's glorious. So what happened? This pastime is of the liberation of Jagai and Madai. Mahaprabhu asked Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur to serve as the door-to-door preachers. They were the first Harinam party and the traveling preachers, spreading the message of love of God to every home in Navadvip. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would tell them, go and liberate, go and preach, go and get the people to chant the Mahamantra. Nityananda and Haridas, one time, and they would go and they would encourage everybody to chant. And Nityananda, he would seek out the most fallen. And one time, and sometimes Haridas would tell him, what are you doing? Don't go there. And especially when Nitai was going to, he decided to go to Jagai and Madai, who were the worst of the worst at that time. Of course, now everybody's Jagai and Madai, practically speaking, but they were so bad. There was no sin they hadn't committed. They were really bad. And Nityananda wanted to go there. And Haridas would say, no, they're crazy. You can't go there. But Nitai wanted to show them the mercy of Mahaprabhu. He went. They were from a priestly dynasty, but had abandoned the pious ways of their forefathers for a life of madness, really, madness. Jagai and Madai were in a drunken stupor, creating havoc throughout the village. And at that time, Nityananda stopped them and said he felt compassion on these fallen souls and reasoned that if they could be rectified, then Mahaprabhu's mission would become even more well received in Navadvip. So if people would see that Jagai and Madai became transformed because of Chaitanya, Nityananda was thinking that would glorify Mahaprabhu's mission. So he approached them on the street. He begged them, please chant the holy names of Krishna. But these two were so crazy. They ran after Nityananda. Nityananda ran as well, and as did Haridas Thakur. Nityananda ran down the road. They were shouting profanities and calling him foul names. So that was on one occasion. That was on one occasion. Then what happened? They ran away, Nitai and Haridas. And then the following day, because then Haridas would give a report to Advaita Acharya of the previous the day's preaching, and he would complain about Nitai. He's such a crazy guy. He does these really foolish things, and I'm not as young as he is. He can run fast, but I can't. They catch me and give me a hard time. This was the transcendental pastimes they used to have. They used to make fun of each other. And Nityananda was really expert on making fun of everybody. We'll see that a bit later. So then the next day, they saw Jagai and Madai in a crazy state. So Nityananda again, the kindness of Nityananda, he approached them again. And he said to them, just call out the name of Gauranga and this crazy life of yours will finish. But what did they do? They ran after him again. This time, Madhai actually threw a clay pot and he hit him on the head and it caused him to bleed. Of course, the Lord never bleeds. But this is a pastime that he enacted to show the mercy of Chaitanya. So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found out that Nityananda was injured by a Brahmin, a so-called Brahmin. He became infuriated. He ran there. He rushed to the area. Whenever his devotee is in difficulty, Mahaprabhu comes. He summoned the Sudarshan Chakra to destroy Madai and Jagai. He was ready to kill them both on the spot. He can't tolerate when his devotees are being injured or insulted. There you go. He was ready. But you look at Nityananda, he's stopping him. Amazing. And again, stopping him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so furious. He looked like Nrsingadev, this chakra. However, Nityananda reminded the Lord that the majority of people in this age has fallen on Jagai and Madai. If you kill them, you're going to have to kill everyone. And this is not your mission. Your mission was not to bring the chakra. What is your chakra doing with you? I thought you were going to leave it back home. Your mission is to liberate them with your love. Hearing these words, Mahaprabhu, he also heard that actually Jagai was going to hit Nityananda again. Sorry, Madhai was going to hit Nityananda. And Jagai stopped him, said, no, don't do it. So when Nityananda told Mahaprabhu that actually Jagai stopped Madhai from hitting me again, immediately Mahaprabhu's heart melted and he forgave Jagai. But he wouldn't forgive Madhai, who had perpetrated the evil deed. So he said to Madhai, I won't forgive you. You have to first seek forgiveness from Nityananda. Of course, Nityananda is very kind. He forgave Madhai very, very quickly. When Madhai realized his stupidity, as did Jagai, they both realized. They saw the force which Mahaprabhu came them at with. And they realized this is now a desperate situation. We're going to have to change our ways. So they fell at the feet of Nityananda, who forgave them immediately. No question. When Jagai and Madai saw Nityananda's forgiving nature towards them, their hearts were changed. They melted. They became devotees. Up to then, they were scared. So they gave in. But now, their hearts changed. They resolved to become devotees of Mahaprabhu's mission. Seeing their sincerity, Mahaprabhu, he hugged Madai and Jagai. He took all of their sins on his own head. For a few moments, his beautiful golden body turned an unsightly blackish color. Of course, the Lord is completely transcendental. Nothing can impact him. Absolutely nothing. His body is transcendental. But this was a pastime to show us the impact of sinful reactions. Indeed, when Yamraj's assistant Chitragupt tried to tally Jagai and Madai's collective sins, he could not do so, and he collapsed from exhaustion. It ran into many, many books. They were so sinful. But Mahaprabhu just took away all of their sins within moments. So this is the most extraordinary pastime in the history of Kali Yuga. The saving of Jagai and Madai by Nityananda's mercy, and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave them pure love of Godhead. So you can see nothing is impossible. Everything is possible in this world. And Jagai and Madai, after that, they're completely transformed. They would serve the Vaishnavas. They would look after their shoes, and they would be very, very humbly offering obeisances and really looking after all the devotees. They made so many mistakes, and now they had this second chance, and they took it. So really beautiful pastime. Pastime that gives us courage, gives us enthusiasm, because we are actually, unfortunately, at the level of Jagai and Madai. But this really gives us encouragement. Never give up. We may stumble on the way. And we've seen that in the Bhagavatam, devotees who've stumbled, right? Bharat Maharaj. But Krishna never lets go of them. Once a devotee of Krishna, always a devotee of Krishna. There may be some hiccups here and there. That's life.
Just want to add that the difference between Balram and Nityananda. Balram.
Can devotees hear what she's saying?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Bit faint though.
Bit faint, yeah, come.
Okay.
She's chilling out because she's been working very hard last 2 days.
Yeah. So difference between Balram and Nityananda is like Balram took a blade of grass and killed Romaharshan Prabhu. Whereas Nityananda would go with a blade of grass in his teeth and bag devotees.
I like that, yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you can see the difference between the two personalities there. How just, that blade of grass, he people walk on this, on the grass, but he would put that in his mouth and go and beg people to become devotees.
Brilliant. Yeah, good point. Anybody like to share? Riyansh, you have your hand up?
Prabhuji? Prabhuji, you told never give up now.
Sorry?
You said never give up now, Prabhuji.
Never give up.
That Hanuman also.
Yeah. And I remember, because Riyansh actually very intelligent. They were doing this Ramayana drama, and I asked all the children, what did you learn from this play? And Riyansh said, never give up. And I asked him, what taught you? How did you learn that? He talked about Hanuman. So this is very powerful. When we do the children's sangha, these wonderful devotees and children do the dramas every week, and they learn so much from it. So yes, thank you very much, Riyansh. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Nityananda deceived him to come to the house of Advaita in Shantipur. Now Nityananda was not scared of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was older. He's Balaram. Doesn't mean he was disobedient. He listened to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he would do some quite crazy things. So, and there was always a purpose for doing these things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after he took sannyas, he wanted to straight away go to Vrindavan. But Nityananda knew that the heart of Sachimata would be completely shattered, as well as the devotees. And there were so many devotees. And if Mahaprabhu was in Vrindavan, he would be so far away from Mayapur. So he concocted this plan that he would say to Mahaprabhu that, yes, you're going to Vrindavan, and there's the Yamuna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would faint, oh, Yamuna, And then he would rise, and then he actually saw Advaitacharya. And he said to Advaitacharya, what are you doing in Vrindavan? And Advaitacharya said, well, this is actually Vrindavan. This part of the Ganga is called the Yamuna. So in this way, they would deceive him. But he was in actually a place called Shantipur, which is near Mayapur. This is the place, Shantipur. So a very beautiful place, actually, on the banks of the Ganga. So in Shantipur, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew he had been deceived, and he surrendered to Nityananda's wish of staying in Shantipur. I think they stayed for how many days? 12? 12 days. And at that time, Sachimata came, when the devotees came, they saw Mahaprabhu's hair was shaven. They were devastated. He had such long, beautiful hair. And they would cook, and they would feed Mahaprabhu. It said that they would place kilos of rice and sabji in front of Mahaprabhu, and he would say, I can't eat so much, I'm a sannyasi. And then Advaita would say, well, duh, give it up. You ate chapan bhog every day, several times at Jagannath Puri. So you just eat this. This is nothing. And Nityananda, it said they would give him 240 kilos of rice to eat in one go. And Nityananda would turn to Advaita and say, what is this? This is not even a morsel of rice. What have you given me? You're making me fast again? So this way, Nityananda would have so much fun with Advaita. And Advaita would tell him, hey, you're a sannyasi, you're an avaduta. Be satisfied with what is in front of you and just eat. Don't worry about it. This way, they would take the mickey out of each other. It's such great fun. And you know, you would only do that with your friends. You'd be sarcastic in a friendly way. And you would only do that with those you are close with. Or those you hate, of course. But they were so close. They loved each other. Then later on, Sachimata made Chaitanya promise to live in Puri, because Puri was not so far away from Mayapur. And every year, the devotees in Mayapur would go to Jagannath Puri. And then it was funny, Jayanti was saying that Nityananda only went once to Jagannath Puri. Only went once. And the rest of the time, he would, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, you should preach the holy names of the Lord throughout Bengal. Don't come to Puri. And he obeyed him. This is the beauty of Nityananda. He could have disobeyed him. So in the same pastime, they were going further down to Puri. And Nityananda broke the three dandi of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had the sannyas rod. And this is really an interesting pastime. He broke it into three. There you go, three pieces. It was ek dandi, and then he broke it into three dandi. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes so angry, he walked away, he walked off all on his own, and he went towards Jagannath Puri. So there's many reasons why he did this. Why Nityananda did this. I have not got the reasons. Yeah, that's right. Ek dandi is, you have to come here and speak if you want to speak. Ek dandi, normally a sannyasi who believes that God is, you can merge with God, would have a sannyas rod with just one stick, ek danda. But the Vaishnavas have three danda, three pieces of wood in their danda. So this is why Nityananda broke into three pieces. That you are not ekadanda, you're not a Mayavadi sannyasi, you're a Vaishnav. Of course, he's the Supreme Lord, but the point was he's in this world, he was came as a devotee. So he went to Puri. There he was joined again by Nityananda and the other devotees. Soon thereafter, Mahaprabhu left Nityananda, and he went off to a tour in South India for a couple of years, South Bharat. In Puri, Nityananda, feeling great separation from the Lord, spread the Sankirtan movement with great relish. When Mahaprabhu returned, he was pleased to see Nityananda had developed the movement in Puri. However, the movement in Navadvip had been sorely neglected. And so in 1511, Mahaprabhu requested Nityananda, go back to Bengal and preach. And of course, whenever Nityananda goes anywhere, he's very successful. So this is the Harinam Sankirtan. This is Gauranga, Nityananda, Advaita. Really amazing, amazing pastimes they had. And Nityananda would love Kirtan, and he would inspire the devotees to sing for hours and hours and hours. And then they would sing in the Puri temple. This is a really nice picture of the Panchatattva. And Rath Yatra, they would have incredible festivals. They would dance and sing in front of Lord Nityananda. Oh yeah, Jagannath. Thank you. Nityananda Prabhu, in his role, so the mercy of Nityananda. He is the original spiritual master. He is instrumental in spreading Yuga Dharma of Sankirtan all over Godal Desh, Bengal and Orissa. His mercy knew no bounds, and people fortunate to come in contact with him were inundated with love of God. It was by his mercy that Raghunath Das, being born in a wealthy family, one of the six Goswamis, started the famous Danda Mahotsava festival of Panihata Hati, a tradition that continues to this day. The devotees have as much yogurt and chip rice as they desire. So we've talked about that a few times. Amazing festival. This is the beauty of Nityananda. When Raghunath Das Goswami went to see him and pay obeisances, he put his feet on his head. This is incredible. Really incredible. This is real mercy. This is Panihati. Beautiful tree still there. A sacred tree under which Nityananda Prabhu blessed Raghunath Das Goswami. So that same tree is still there. And that was such a phenomenal festival. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was far away, came because it was such a fascinating. He expanded himself and he was in two places at the same time. And there were millions of devotees who would come just to celebrate that festival with Nityananda. Nityananda Prabhu traveled on, visiting Shantipur and Navadvip, where he literally went door to door and begged people to surrender to Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission. He is said to have converted no less than 1,200 male and 1,300 female Buddhists. And the Buddhists are really hard. They set their mind on the Mayavad philosophy, or the philosophy of destruction, that the soul doesn't exist. Hard to convert someone like that. Glories of Mayapur. Lord Nityananda took Jiva Goswami. So Jiva Goswami is very fortunate. He had the great fortune of meeting Nityananda when he went to Mayapur. So I think we talked about that when we talked about Jiva Goswami. He took Jiva Goswami on a parikram of Navadvip Dham, the area surrounding Mayapur. So Mayapur is one of the islands. Nava is nine Dweep islands. That area has 9 islands, and one of them is Mayapur, the central one. And that's the holy abode of Chaitanya. When they approached Mayapur, Lord Nityananda, overwhelmed with ecstasy of love of Godhead, love of Krishna, he spoke the following words to Jiva Goswami. So this is from the Navadvip Dhamma Mahatmya by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. When our Lord appears by his desire, the Ganga will swell. The Ganga water will almost cover Mayapur for 100 years, and then the water will recede. For some time, only the place will remain devoid of houses. Then again, by the Lord's desire, this place will become prominent and people will live in Mayapur as before. All these ghats on the banks of the Ganga will again be manifest, and the devotees will build temples of the Lord. One exceedingly wonderful temple will appear from which Gauranga's eternal service will be preached everywhere. This is the temple of Vedic Planetarium, TOVP. So this was predicted by Lord Nityananda when he was taking Jiva Goswami around.
I think at the same time you also predicted that the name would be Vitam village.
Okay, one exceedingly wonderful temple will appear. This is it. This is the TOVP as we know it today. Beautiful. When Nityananda Prabhu returned to Bengal at the request of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he decided to abandon his avadut status and he became a grihastha. This is a really quite extraordinary because up to now he was pretty much a sannyasi. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have to get married. You should get married. And Nityananda abandoned his sannyas status, if you like, the avadut status, and he became a grihastha, householder. Of course, not an ordinary grihastha. He's a divine grihastha. He married Janava Devi and Vasudha, the two daughters of Suryadas Sarakhel. They're incarnations of Revati, so he's beautiful. Sorry?
Balram's consort.
Consort of Balaram, that's right. And Varuni, they're the wives of Balaram. So this is where he married Jahnavi Devi. It's called Janava Devi. Ambika Kalna. Very interesting place. Haven't been there. Nityananda Prabhu has a son, Virchandara, and a daughter, Ganga Devi from Vasudha. Soon after Vasudha passed away, Janava looked after the children. She later initiated. So after Nityananda also had gone back to the spiritual world, she remained. Janava Devi remained. She was the leader of the Vaishnavas. She was the topmost Vaishnava after Lord Nityananda, because at that time even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wasn't there. She later initiated Virachandra. He has two different names, one person. And also became an instructing spiritual master to the wonderful souls like Shyamanandan Pandit, Srinivas Pandit, that should be Srinivas Pandit, and Narottam Das Thakur. These were the three wonderful devotees who took the Mahaprabhu, Goswami's books away from Vrindavan to Bengal. Janava Devi is revered as a Vaishnavi, and she established a preeminent position of women in Vaishnava tradition. So this has been a bit of a conversation we've been having over the last sort of few days, maybe, that the position of women is no less than men. In fact, some would even argue much higher than men, because they are the source of the next generation. If it wasn't for the Matajis, there would be no future. So Lord Nityananda wound up his earthly pastimes by merging into the deity of Krishna known as Bankim Ray, not far from Ek Chakra. So this is Bankim Ray. So this is the deity that he is regarded to have merged into to finish his earthly pastimes. Vaishnavacharyas emphatically state that people who try to understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without getting the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu will never succeed. They're both required. We have to have faith in both, not one or the other, but both. Of course, if one has faith in Nityananda, automatically the faith will develop in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But it's not necessarily the case if it's the other way around. So we can only go to Chaitanya through Nityananda. We'll only get the mercy of Radha and Krishna through Nityananda. One must pray very sincerely to Lord Nityananda Prabhu as the Adi Guru, original spiritual master, to be delivered to the lotus feet, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The presence of Nityananda is always felt in the presence of one's Guru, for the Guru is considered to be the living manifestation of Nityananda Prabhu's love and mercy, and his Shakti as well. This is what gives the disciple the ability to perform devotional service and experience spiritual bliss. So any bhakti that we are trying to perform It's the mercy of the Guru, and the Guru's mercy is the personification of the living manifestation of Nityananda Prabhu's love. So it's very powerful, connected to Nityananda. So some other little pastimes, we've talked about some of these already. The wonderful pastimes with Haridas Thakur jokingly complaining to Advaita about Nityananda's avadut mood during door-to-door preaching. So he was far out, Nityananda. He would do really crazy things. He would jump into the Ganga and fight with the crocodiles. He would tease the girls. Yeah, he would do all sorts of things. And he has a role in Krishna Lila as Sakhi, right? Yeah, Ananga Manjari, Radharani's younger sister in Madhurya Ras. So this is quite difficult to understand. How can he be both? You know, like he's in Sakhya Ras, a great friend of Krishna. At the same time, you see, he's in Gopi Bhav as well.
He takes all five.
Manjari, yeah, all five. That's right. All four, anyway. What's the fifth one? Ah, the fifth one is just, he expands himself.
Yeah, as the
neutral. Yeah. But it is that he doesn't have the bhav of the friendship when he's in the form of Ananga Manjari. The bhav is simply Manjari bhav. So they're completely distinct. And the Lord can do that. He can have different bhavs in different forms. Nityananda's mercy to Shivananda Sen. Once when the devotees from Bengal again journeyed to Puri to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the leader, as usual, was Shivananda Sen, who traveled with his wife and children. So because arrangements were delayed en route, after all, it is Bharat, right? And Lord Nityananda did not have a suitable place to reside. He became somewhat angry with Shivananda Sen, who was in charge of the affairs of the party, and kicked him in loving anger. Shivananda Sen felt highly favored to have been kicked by Nityananda Prabhu. So similar sort of pastimes took place between Advaita Acharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Advaita Acharya would often try to provoke the anger of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because otherwise Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always very respectful to Advaita Acharya, who was much older. And his guru was Madhavendra Puri, and he was, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's guru was Ishwara Puri, who was the godbrother of Advaita Acharya. So Advaita Acharya is considered senior in terms of initiation. But of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is nobody's higher than him. So this is Shivananda Sen getting a kick. The lotus feet of Nityananda, very beautiful lotus feet. There's so many. What's the time? How are we doing?
23 past.
Okay. So there's different items. I think we won't have time to go through each one. But we can see here the conch, the flag, the fish, lotus, bow, gold, altar, half moon, picture, disc. So I'll share these in the notes so you can read it in your own time. But each symbol has a specific meaning and identity. So very interesting. It's always nice to meditate on the lotus feet of Nityananda. And these are very, very important symbols. These lotus feet, like we were reading in the song, yes, Nitai Padakamalam, we were singing that song. They're like millions of moons, have a very cooling effect on the fire of material life. Very powerful. Then there's the sky. So there's 2 feet, and he's got 2 different symbols. So loads of different symbols on both feet. Umbrella, cow hoof, thunderbolt, rose apple, club, spear, flower, creeper, plow. And his hands also have different symbols. If you look here at the tips, he's got beautiful conch here. lotus flower, fish, so many different things. So he's got loads of names: Nityananda, Avadutendu, Vasudha, Pranav, Vallabh, Jahnavi, Jivita, Pati, Krishna Prada, Prabhu. That's what we normally call him, Nityananda Prabhu. Padmavati Sutta, Sriman Satchidananda Purvaja, Bhavonmata, Jagatrata, Rakta Gaura, Rakta Gaura Kelevara. So this is from the writings of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So anybody like to ask any questions or any comments, any realizations? I'm sure devotees, many devotees who've been devotees for years and years will have something to share about Lord Nityananda. He's such an amazing personality. Yes, Riyanj.
Prabhuji, can I share something?
Yes. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, I want to share the screen.
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
But I can't do it, Prabhuji, because you are presenting.
No, you can. Go for it.
No, Prabhuji, I can do now.
Try. You're trying.
Prabhuji, in this picture, you show these hands, na Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Then what is this, Prabhuji?
Which one?
That like there is something here.
What was that? Yeah, hang on a sec. Let me show my screen now. This one here, right? I think that also appears on his feet somewhere. You know? Yeah, there it is. So what is that? This picture. What is that? Umbrella. Altar. Road. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is actually. It's
Prabhuji, I think it is altar.
where's the altar? Yes, altar. Yeah, you're right. Good. Well done. Well done. Anything else? Yeah,
No,
must be the altar. Good. Anybody else? Anything else? Anybody like to share anything about Lord Nityananda?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yes, sometimes I know we pray to Radha Krishna, but
Yeah.
then sometimes I get confused that you have to pray to Nityanand to get to
That's right.
Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu will get to the Radharani ji, then we go to Krishna. I was discussing with my sister yesterday, and
Ah,
she said that with that we are not never ever able to reach Krishna.
because we're going through everybody else first.
Everybody else, and it's so confusing what to do. We only pray. I mean, we do remember in Panch Tattva, we speak the Panch Tattva, we Radharani ji, but all the focus is always on Radha Krishna, Prabhuji, or Krishna only.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
times we go to Radhaji as well,
yeah.
but so this is so confusing. But I think do what you can. That's what my motto is. Do what you can,
Do what
and you
you
eventually reach with Prabhupada's grace because he has got the backdoor key to Golok Vrindavan.
your key. That's right.
So it is. You have to go via so many routes to reach to Krishna, but I would prefer the direct route, even though it may be difficult. Not now, but in few years, not few janams. After few janam and janam and janam, eventually reach to Krishna.
But actually, this is the direct route because you know there's when this is the direct route to approach Radha and Krishna is actually practically impossible for us.
Yes,
Mm.
that's yeah.
But if we, like, for example, to get to see the, okay, I'll give you an example. I've been trying to meet a really rich man
Mm.
for obvious reasons, right?
Yes.
And the only way you could do it is by knowing somebody who's close to him.
Yes.
So we've made good friends with his brother, his cousin brother. And eventually we got to talk to him himself. And he was very helpful.
Mm.
So to actually go and see him directly, you'd never get to the front gate. He's got a £7 million house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can try for, and I remember going on Sankirtan to this really rich place. And I was thinking, oh, they're Indian. I could see them. Like the gate was about, like 200 yards away. And we pressed the bell and they wouldn't even open it. So no matter how much you try, you're never going to get to see that person. Because if they don't want you in, they won't let you in. But if you know somebody close to that person, and that person says, hey, you know what? He's a really nice guy. Why don't you open the door and let him in and let him say his bit?
Mm.
Then the doors open. Then the guy picks up the phone, and yeah, he's told me about you. Yeah, I hear you're a nice guy. And of course, we have to correct. No, I'm not a nice guy, but so actually, this is the direct route. If we go through his devotee, and of course, every appearance day of every incarnation, we always say he is the greatest. But actually, Prabhupada is the greatest. Prabhupada is absolutely the greatest.
So I'm doing correct thing by going via Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada rather.
Prabhupada to Nityananda, because he'll take us to Nityananda. Nityananda
Okay.
will take us to Chaitanya. And Chaitanya is Radha and Krishna. That is the direct.
Okay. So Srila Prabhupada, then Nityananda Prabhu, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then Radharani, and then Krishna.
Yeah.
So we have to remember all these in our prayers all the time.
As much as we can, yes. Yes. That's right. Nityananda is so kind. Even if you remember him even once, actually enough. Once in a day is enough.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the most compassionate person.
We don't have we remember him, but I don't have their deities in the house. Nityananda, Gaur Nitya rather.
Yeah. Gaunita, this is what Prabhupada sort of, the Gaudiya Math, generally they used to worship Gaur Gadadhar. Gaur Gadadhar is Radharani. But Prabhupada did this amazing thing. When he came to the West, he knew we needed the mercy of Nityananda. Everywhere there's Gaunita. Everywhere there's Gaunita.
So we should have that his deities at the.
I've got something for you.
Okay.
I've got something for you. That's amazing. I was just looking at them, thinking, yeah, they could come to you.
Okay. Yeah. I remember him every day.
Yeah.
I remember because when we pray in that Krishna, we say that different ways of coming to you.
Yes.
So that's how I remember.
When you say Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda,
Yes.
around,
Yes.
you're already remembering Nityananda.
Sorry?
You're already remembering Nityananda.
Yes.
Sri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar,
Yeah.
Svas.
Yeah, we always, we remember that few times when you offer him bhoga. Do that
Yeah.
morning. Yeah.
Good.
Oh, all right. I'll discuss that with Aarti then. My
Yeah.
sister.
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you for that. That's really practical stuff. Thank you. Thank you, Naliban.
Yes, all right. Okay, Prabhuji. I have to go and post a few letters, so I'm leaving now, okay? We said.
Thank you so much. I hope you're okay. Yeah? Hare Krishna. Anybody else? Anything else? Otherwise,
Thank you, Prabhuji, so much. We learned so much about Nityananda today.
thank you. So did I.
Yes, so many things, my God.
I learned more than you did.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for bringing us nearer to Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda.
It's a pleasure. Your blessings, I want to get closer as well.
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji?
Yes.
In this photo, and there, Advaitacharya is why he's doing like this?
Because actually what happened, Nityananda threw some rice at him. He threw it at him. He said, what is this? You've given me just so little. It was 240 kilos of rice, right? That's a lot of rice. Nityananda picked up some of it and he said he threw it at Advaita and he said, "Oh, is this all you want to give me? This is it? I've been fasting all night for this?" He was joking with him. He was joking. He was fooling around. And Advaita Acharya became so happy to be hit by the rice that was thrown by Nityananda. He became so happy. So he was dancing. You see, he's off the floor. He's dancing.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much. Okay, anything else? Otherwise, let's go into the Nishinga Kavach. Thank you so much, dear devotees.